Hi, everyone. Welcome to this interview that I have with one of my clients inside of my company, JFF, or Journey to Financial Freedom. I probably shouldn't be saying this out loud, but she's definitely one of my favorite clients and has become a great friend to my wife, Lauren, and I over the years. So welcome, Erin and Tronin. We beyond appreciate you being here today, especially with your busy schedule.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. A little technical difficulties running in. That's why we're laughing right
That's
now, but
how we know it's about to be good.
it's exactly it. It is exactly it. Anyways, Erin, before we hop in, can you briefly describe who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Erin and I am a faith-led caregiver coach, I guess, if you will. I basically help dementia caregivers that are navigating how to manage burnout and just understanding how to navigate the journey of dementia caregiving and taking care of themselves.
And she's darn good at it too.
Yeah.
Like she has her own journey. You guys have to check her out separately after this interview for sure. But an incredible human being and has been an incredible client of ours at JFF, like almost from the beginning. Particularly just trying to talk today about your experience inside the Good Steward program. And so would you be able to share a little bit about how your financial stress has turned into financial peace as a result of you going through the Good Steward program?
Man, well, it's interesting because you're like us meeting, we met at such a pivotal time in my own journey as a caregiver. We met as my dad was dying. My dad had cancer for 9 years, and my mom was diagnosed with dementia the same week that he came home on hospice. And so, insert Justin Guanamo, who literally in the Good Steward program that just saved me so much to just understand not only how to handle my own finances, but like how to be able to navigate finances, just taking over my parents, like being able to do both at the same time. It was a huge stress while navigating a lot of grief and navigating a lot of just hard times. Right. And so finances are stressful enough when you're doing it on your own, let alone trying to do it for somebody else. And you're dealing with death from one parent, but then also literally I'm watching my mom die before me at the same time, essentially like she's not dying, but dementia by all intensive purposes, you're like literally you're losing affects of them every single day. So it was just a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah. I when we had first met, I remember you having a lot on your plate. And as you mentioned, managing your finances in the first place is already stressful, and throwing everything that you went through. You've just been doing such a phenomenal job over the years. I know you beat yourself up a little bit. That's what we're similar in, but just so incredible. I think your faith has, a lot to do with that. And speaking of faith, and something in the faith-based community that seems to be positioned as evil or all debt is bad. There's mainly debt, right?
Yeah.
And so, can you describe how your mindset around debt has changed since working with us?
Oh gosh. I mean, debt to me doesn't mean bad anymore. Debt to me is leverage, like really being able how to understand it. It's not like what is the smartest decision that I can make now for myself rather than, oh, this is quote unquote getting me into debt. I talk to people every day about this. I'm like, all debt is not bad debt, right? And so one of the biggest things that you taught me was like how to be able to leverage that. And so it's no longer this like negative connotation in my mind. It's now this thing that I have continued to learn from and grow from, and just learning how to utilize it better and smarter with better strategies.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Mhm.
I almost couldn't have said it any better. And I released, I think it was a podcast episode today. And in the podcast episode, I said, debt isn't wrong. Irresponsible borrowing is.
Yeah.
Right. And when you can really start to wrap your head around the difference between good debt and bad debt, how to take care of and avoid bad debt while leveraging good debt, as I think where you start to take the next step with your finances, particularly as a believer. And so, I'm always so proud when people can grow in that mindset. And again, me and Erin aren't sitting here telling you to go rack up debt. That is not what we are saying. We are saying learn the difference between good debt and bad debt, and leverage the good debt and try your best to stay away from the bad debt, because that'll help you stay away from some challenges.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of challenges, two-part question here. What were the main challenges you faced before working with us? And did you feel the only way to grow past them was either make more money or just cut out the lifestyle you enjoyed?
So honestly, What's really interesting is that the gift that caregiving gave me was like getting control of my life, which is really interesting. That if I would have looked at my life on the outside looking in, I would have said, yes, I have a money issue. But in the moment, I never said to myself, I have a money issue. But it wasn't until caregiving happened and my life fell apart that I was like, oh crap, like there's an issue here. And so it was really one of those things that was really just a highlight of it. And what I would say is that, like, whenever I try to figure out my money, it was always go make more, because I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20. It was just, the answer was never like manage what you have. It was always go make more. It was always like, you can go make more, you can do more, you can, and it's like, but if you're not honoring and you're not stewarding what you have, then it's like, God's not going to bless you with more. And it took me a long time to learn that lesson. I like hit my head up against the wall quite a lot to be able to learn that lesson.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go through it, especially the entrepreneur space, where it's like, you know what, if I just make more money, it's going to solve all my problems, right? And it makes sense logically or superficially, right? But like I always say, things that, though it isn't actually logical, but things that are logical doesn't always mean it's biblical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the short term, making more money helps. It'll pay the overdue bills or the bills coming up. You put a little money in your pocket. But in 30 days, without bettering your financial management skills, you're probably back in the same exact position, you know? And so I think that's great that you're listing out the challenges before that, like, needed to take control of your finances, right? And then ultimately needed to realize that bettering your finances has a heck of a lot more to do than just going and making more money.
Yeah.
And again, we're not against making more money. It just has to make sense, right? And so, you actually have done a lot, whether it's on the income side of things, the debt side of things, the expense side of things, right? And so I'd be curious if you're willing to share some tangible results that you've accomplished since joining the program, whether that be paying off debt, money saved, investments made or growing, etc. Yeah. So tangible would be money saved, right? Money invested. You've invested some money with Nate. Even though if we had to pull it or not, you still put it in there, right? Money invested with the island. And honestly, you can count what you've paid so far already towards taxes as debt payoff.
Yeah. I mean, I paid off all of my other debt. I just don't, I mean, but like that was not from like so are we counting my good stewardship, the money I got from my parents? Like,
all right. So would you mind sharing some tangible results with us? Like amount of debt you've paid off, maybe money saved, investments made or growing, like whatever you feel comfortable with or what comes to mind?
yeah. So I think, man, I was just looking at this the other day. I mean, number one, I feel good about a budget that I can continuously come back to. Like, even if it's been a while, like I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm perfect, right? There's how many times have I messaged you being like, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
So, but like each time, like there's so much grace, right? And so that's number one. Number two, gosh, my credit score has jumped 200 points, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's amazing. And so maybe it's a little under 200. I might be like over guessing, but it's like right around 200 points. And then gosh, I've been able to invest. I paid off all my debt. Well, I have some debt that I'm still paying off, but that's more of like a long-term payment plan, but all of like my immediate debt, right? That's affecting my credit score. All of that stuff is being paid off. And then I've been able to invest, gosh, over 100,000 into different investments, like all of that sort of stuff, like over the last 5 years since we've been working together. So, I mean, I would say, literally my life is completely different.
It's so awesome. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing that. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the coolest part is, like, I always tell people, like, finances doesn't have to be quantum physics. It shouldn't take a ton of time. Yes, there's going to be seasons that you go through. You got to gather some information, build some documents, right? But really, if you're doing it the right way, it shouldn't be a crazy amount of time. And so can you describe the time commitment required from your end during our collaboration and what responsibilities you had and maybe what were some of the things we took care of?
Gosh, I mean, I've collabed with you so many times. I'm a continuous collaborator. But I know that like I got help with like my budget being set up, like the actual physical thing being set up, just like the ongoing coaching. So being able to understand how to actually utilize the budget, being able to understand what the numbers actually mean. And this is, I think, like, because we make up stories in our mind of what we think things mean, and like if it's good, if it's bad, like all of that. So really, you guys helped me to be able to navigate a better narrative in my mind. So that way, if I saw a red, head on the paper, like it didn't always mean bad. You know, it wasn't always this like, I suck at money. Here I am effing it up again. I suck. Like, I'm going to do terrible again. I'm going to ruin my life. And like, the truth is like, that's not true, you know? And so, but I think so often like our old money patterns can like tell the story, and we just have to know. And just like what you have taught me so much is like let the numbers tell the story. Like, get out of your head and don't you make up a story. Like, let the numbers dictate the story. And then from there, you can make minor adjustments to whatever you need to do to be able to make it happen.
I love that. I love that. And what would you say the time commitment each week, let's just say, for you to, when you're in the budget, you're managing it well, you know, you're participating in the program, how many hours did you say that takes you a week collectively?
I mean, when I'm on top of it, less than an hour.
Exactly, right? Like that's so awesome.
A week.
It's so awesome. And I just think that's just so cool to be able to put in an hour or two to get best results,
Yeah.
right? Collectively on you know, throughout the week. And so I really like the point though that you made about like actually understanding what's going on, because I think if you're not tracking numbers in the first place because you're overwhelmed by budgeting or don't like it, or you've been put on wrong systems before, you avoid measuring your money, but you can't improve what you're not measuring. And also when you're not measuring your money, just a lot of subjectivity is floating around. Like you're making guesses at what's happening. And if you leave it up to people like us that are high achievers to make up a story about what's going on, well, we're going to be down doomsday trail all day long, right? And so when you actually put numbers to your budget, you stop stressing as much. Even if you're not as pumped, even if you're not like extremely pumped about the numbers, you at least feel way less stressed because you feel in control and you feel informed, right? And then also just to be able to see, okay, what's actually going on, so we have some accurate data to then paint a correct picture of how we can do better or how we can move forward. And so I think a lot of people, when they do come into JFF, they're surprised that literally our budgeting system actually allows them to live their life and spend their money and make financial progress all at the same time, and really is very simple to manage. It only takes 1 to 3 minutes a day at most.
I remember there was a financial planner one time who told me, he sat me down and he looked at my budget and he told me that the only, I needed to cut out going to the gym and use the stairs at my apartment complex as my gym instead of going to the gym. And I literally was like, no, I'm not going to do
that. There are ways to keep your gym, you know, if you're budgeting correctly.
That's the $50, the $40 a month. Like, that's the thing that we're going to cut right now.
Yeah. And I think that, like, don't get me wrong, sacrifice out of strategy is, you know, sometimes needed, but sacrifice out of scarcity, that just ain't it, right? And so we want you to live your life. We just got to figure out a way to do it in a financially responsible manner. And so people are usually surprised by several of those things when they join JFF. What would you say were some other things about our services, or maybe even JFF in totality, that surprised you?
I mean, I think honestly, like over the course of the 5 years, I think I have been so surprised just how much like you are a product of the product, like both you and Lauren, like being able to be witness to, wow, why am I getting emotional? Oh my gosh.
Well, you are a good friend though, so I guess it makes sense.
But I think that like it's because I think anyone can sell anything online, right? And I think that when you are literally practicing in your own home what you're preaching, but not only to like you, but your wife and like family and close friends, and like just being able to watch you guys like live out what it is that you're doing. Like, I think that that has, you know, been surprising, because I've invested in a lot of things, and I can't say that every single person that I've invested in, it's been like that. But I also haven't had this close of a look right behind the curtain with a lot of people. But it is just, you know, and I think that that trickles down into every single person in your company. You know, I think that every person that you employ, you literally ingrain that into who they are as people, how they engage with your clients. Like, you know, your clients, like it's this like, we become like family, and it's kind of just this like really beautiful process that happens in growth. And it's just, and you just feel really safe. You know, I think that that is also because I think money can feel very scary, and it can feel just not, because there's a lot of things out there that are shaming you and making us feel bad for just different things that have happened in our life when it comes to our finances. And it's just a really safe place.
Well, for one, I received that. I appreciate that response. I was not expecting that, and I appreciate the acknowledgement though, because my walk this morning, I was reflecting on that, like, the way that me and Lauren show up. And again, we are not perfect. A lot of the things that I've learned financially are from mistakes that I've made, for sure. But I do have a good amount of successes to kind of balance that out as well. And so, I appreciate that. Like, and, we just even have some things going on right now where, like, I'm just really proud of us for how we're handling it and, just practicing what we preach, and so thank you for that. And the safety part is most important to me because, we always say just judgment-free zone. Like, I expect your finances to be a little jacked up when you come to us. Like, 95% of this country is financially illiterate. So where were you supposed to learn it from? Like, the odds were against you. And so, everyone is safe with us. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And so I appreciate that. I really do. And so, as we wrap up here today, if someone's listening to this who's on the fence about working with us, what would you tell them?
If you knew what to do, you would have already done it. I think that is the biggest thing. Like, if you knew what to do, you would have already done it. And, and because money, what I've learned so much is that this is so much like, so much of this is mental. It's not even just the physical doing. Like, we could probably create a budget on our own, right? Like, okay, but it's like the mental story, again, going back to the mental stories, and to like have people normalize just I don't want to say struggle, but just normalize that, like, this is literally what society has taught us. Like, no one has taught you how to think about your money, how to feel about your money, how to do all those things. And like, to be a part of an organization and to have the support that you need, I mean, literally can change your life.
I love what you said in the beginning of that, because I tell people all the time, like, if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they're like, I'm going to try to figure this out on my own. It's like, if you could have figured it out by now, you would have, right? So, like, and so I 1000% agree with you. Shame anybody's game. You just weren't taught this, and there's not many resources out there to be able to teach you. And so I appreciate that, though, because I always say to people, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, just Google us, just go to our websites, our profiles, whether it's social medias. We have hundreds of client testimonials for a reason. We are not perfect by any means, but our services really are your mirror. You'll get out of them what you put into it, right? And I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, again, I know I'm not perfect. I know we're not perfect, but we have a lot of data to prove that if people just trust, commit, play their part, they get amazing results, let alone their life's changed. And so I think you're walking proof of that. And we just beyond appreciate you as a client, as a friend, and, as an interviewee today. And so before we wrap up, any final thoughts you want to tell the viewers?
Well, actually, what I was just thinking about, I was like, oh, we didn't really talk about like putting God into your finances. Like, I know that's the whole premise of like the Good Steward and like all of that stuff, but like it just never fails. Like, time and time and time again, every single time that I practice faithfulness and steadfastness and stewardship, like, literally, and I heard you say this on a post the other day, that like God is not this like genie machine where it's like you put a quarter in and then you're like given blessings, like, and I know just from my walk with God, but what I have seen time and time again is just like God's faithfulness. When I'm obedient to the things that I know to be, it's the only time in the Bible that said God says, trust me, when it comes to your finances and when it comes to like tithing and honoring your money and like doing all of that. And so I just really wanted to just echo that, like, your mission with that, because I think like I have seen firsthand, like, I've made hard decisions with money, even just recently, where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this, but like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And like, it's crazy but I'm also like looking for it. I think sometimes people say, oh, well, God shows up for you in these crazy ways. And I'm like, I think it's only crazy because I'm actually looking for it. Like, I'm like walking in expectation of that. And so I think that just my final thought is just to walk in expectation for what God is going to do in your finances, and like honor God and watch what he does for you in your life.
That's so good. That's so good. And it's just a great way to end, because I just have making it my life's mission now to help people fully just understand what God thinks and says about money and how we should manage it in a way that honors him based on biblical wisdom, without all of the outdated, fearful, and restrictive feelings finances usually brings on people, which was never God's intention, right? And so I appreciate you bringing that up, and that's just such a beautiful place to end. So, Erin, thank you again so much for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Of course, of course. And so thank you everyone for watching this interview. I hope it inspired you. If it did, share it with somebody else that it would inspire. If you have some takeaways, drop it in the comments. And if you're not subscribed yet to the channel, make sure you do so you can get notifications every time we post. And we'll see you in the next interview.